Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Hello out there, you our listeners in Nigeria and in the diaspora. You're welcome to another edition of Money Radio. I'm your host today. My name is Case Hammond, and I have a guest in the studio with me, Mr. Paul Wadema. Mr. Paul, you're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
We are discussing an important issue today, the poultry industry. That industry in Nigeria is valued at somewhere in the range of 13 trillion naira. That is no small figure. Yes, 13 trillion naira, the value of the poultry industry in Nigeria. But that industry is under threat right now due to insecurity. You may ask, what does insecurity in one part of the country or the other have to do with the price of poultry products? You will find out. Mr. Paul is here with me. Mr. Paul, you're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
So, please, let's hear from you a bit. Let's educate our listeners. What is the link between the price of poultry and the insecurity?
Okay. Like you rightly noted, the poultry sector is worth over 13 trillion naira.
Yeah.
And that's not a small amount of money. And this sector has given employment to millions of Nigerians,
That's true.
and both direct and indirect employment it has created. But in recent time, it has been facing a lot of challenges, which has affected the price of poultry products. These challenges include insecurity.
What is the link there?
The link there is because the major ingredients used for making poultry feed is maize and soybean.
Maize and soybean.
Now, these two agri products, they are produced very well in the north of the country that are facing a lot of insecurity. As a result of this, many farmers are not able to produce maize and soybeans as they used to do in the past. If you realize that because of insecurity, many farmers do not have access to their farms.
That's true.
So when they cannot be able to access their farms and produce maize and soybean, the manufacturers of animal feed, of poultry feed, will be left with no option but to import. Are you getting it?
Yes.
So in that way, insecurity in the north is impacting on animal feed or poultry feed prices, which is now translated to high cost of purchase by poultry farmers, high cost of poultry, and at the same time leading to a situation where some poultry farmers have to close shop if they cannot be able to afford poultry feed. That is in one hand. Now we are talking about the north. Even the south are not exempted from this threat of insecurity in the role it plays in stifling the poultry sector. And recently, Idewu, I think his name is Mr. Idewu,
Okay.
are saying, Mr. Idewu, the chairman of Poultry Association of Nigeria,
Yeah.
in Ogun State, he was lamenting about the fact that many of the poultry farmers are being kidnapped. I'm talking about in the southwest.
Yes.
We have left the north now. And that many poultry farmers are paying huge sums of ransom to get their members released from captivity. And these poultries are not located in the center of the town.
Yes, of course,
they
there are
are
the
on
fringes of the town.
fringes, because there's no way you can rear 1,000 birds within the a living environment.
Of course, the smell.
Or for those who rear up to 100,000 birds,
Yeah.
you can't do that within the city center
The smell
or
will be
within the main
repugnant
town.
to
I'm
your
talking about in
neighbors.
the southwest or anywhere.
Yeah.
So as a result of that, he said that many poultry farmers now have to put CCTV
Imagine that.
on their poultry farms, and at the same time hire security, get security escort both from government and the private. And the cost that this thing will entail.
Of course, all of that will be passed on to consumers.
Yes, and it's also affecting them because what they are producing are perishable products. If you produce egg, there's a certain amount of time it can stay with you before it gets spoiled. So if the price is not affordable by the consumers, it will spoil in their hands.
It's amazing how.
So these are some of the challenges they face.
It's amazing how.
And the man actually narrated an incident where a poultry farmer, the proprietor of a poultry business, was kidnapped, and the workers didn't go to work the next day.
That has implication on the number of birds because
Yes.
feeding them,
Yes.
many will have
As they
many
didn't
will
go
die.
to work for the following day, it impacted on the birds, because from what he was saying, if you didn't feed the bird for a day, you are likely not to get eggs for 1 week from them.
Yes, that's true. Even water. Water is an essential
Yes.
product for those
So
birds.
these are some of the roles insecurity has played in impacting on the poultry sector, and which need to be addressed, because it's one of the supposed to be one of the easiest or cheapest way for Nigerians to get protein, and it's also a major employer of labor in the country.
It's amazing how just one affecting one aspect of society or the economy can reverberate to the entire economy. Because the price of eggs, for example, not long ago was just around 30, 40 naira. Right now we're talking about 70 naira for one egg. And of course, the price of birds, the chicken, of course, they are going to rise also, and it's just because of insecurity.
Yes,
So-
and the price of feed. If we were to look at the price of feed, Nigeria has, according to United States Department of Agriculture, Nigeria has actually done well between 1960 and 2019 in the production of maize, which is a major ingredient for producing poultry feed.
Poultry feed, yeah.
We according to the statistics they release, they said that we are producing about 914,000 tons.
Almost a million.
In 1960. Today we are producing 11 million tons. But this is not enough. As a result of it, government has to, the operators in the sector are forced to import maize.
Of course.
And it has now been established, according to the Department of Agriculture of the United States, that Nigeria is 40th in the world in terms of importation of maize. And much of those maize goes to feed companies that produce poultry feed, and other industries that require maize as a very key ingredient in their raw materials for their products.
Of course, that increase wouldn't have so much impact on the price because in terms of feed, per capita. We're talking about 1960 when it was that low, less than a million. Today, in 1960s, Nigeria's population was just around 60 something million.
Yeah, let me cut it there. We have actually done very well because from the statistics done by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, we have been increasing production of maize by about 6.70%.
Okay.
Steadily.
Okay.
Between that time. And they actually reported that we have been increasing our productivity of maize. But the point is that our population is not growing at arithmetic level. It is growing at a geometrical level.
Yeah.
So it's basically, no matter how much we produce, it appears it's not enough.
Yes, because the population is increasing and there is more need for food, more need for chicken, and the chicken, of course, we have to eat. So we have more need for food.
Yes, because if you look at by July 2020, a ton of maize was selling at 105,000 naira.
A ton of maize.
Yes. Are you getting it?
Yes.
It was selling at, before you know it, within a few months later, it was now selling at 165,000.
And you mentioned something earlier. You mentioned the fact that the raw material of poultry feeds is maize, and since insecurity is stunting that production, the country has to import. And importing, of course, means the amount that is import also has implication on the exchange rate, or the cost of importation also has implication.
To add to the problem of those in the sector, operators in the sector, the CBN listed the importation of maize among those that they place ban on. You can't sell forex for that. I mean, you can't get forex through the banks. You know,
that makes it even worse.
So that was how the price now reached up to 180,000 per ton, and still climbing. So that accounts for the reason why many poultry farmers are not smiling. Consumers also are not smiling, because you can take a survey of what a crate of egg is now and what it's supposed to be, and to give you an indication of what is happening. Normally, during the harvest, between October and November, the price of maize used to crash. Are you getting it? Because of
harvest period.
But because of the insecurity that has joined in causing this scarcity, we found out by November last year, the price did not fall. It's still climbing. As I'm talking to you now, a bag of feed, you can't get it less than 6,000 something. That is how it is.
You know, all of this has to do with what we talk about every time, the ease of doing business. Look, Nigerians are among the hardest working people in the world. Nigerians are willing to work. Nigerians want to have better life, and they are willing to work for that better life. All people need is give that environment, the smooth environment, just that ease of doing business, and they are willing to work. Let's go for a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about that ease of doing business in the country. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll come back after a short break. We'll have more on this, and especially the ease of doing business, the ease of producing poultry feeds, and other things that will make life easier for Nigerians. Please stay with us.
Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Welcome back, all of you following us. This is Money Radio. We are still here. My name is Harmon. I'm your host. And Mr. Paul Wadima is still with us, who is analyzing this touchy issue, the price of poultry products, and what security, the implication insecurity is having on the price of poultry products. Just before we went on break, Mr. Paul, we were talking about Nigerians being willing to work, Nigerians wanting a better life and wanting to produce what will give them that better life. All we need is the right environment, that is ease of doing business. Please, let's discuss more on that ease of doing business. What does the government need to do to ensure that ease of doing business that will make it easier and will produce more? Sorry, produce more and have enough for the country, and the prices should crash.
Well, good enough. The government of the day is very much interested in ease of doing business. It has taken a lot of measures to ensure the ease of doing business in the country. And to be quite frank, they have tried, but
let's get it straight. In terms of ease of doing business, Nigeria has improved. In fact, by the last count, it was from 146, the 146th position in the world to the 131st position. That is by 15 places.
because the government has prioritized ease of doing
Yes,
business.
we give it to the government.
And
That's one
now,
of the steepest leap
yes.
in recent times. That's it.
But here we are concentrating on ease of doing poultry business.
Yes.
One of the things that government need to address is the issue of security, because the insecurity is affecting the price of the major ingredients that they are using for making poultry feed, which I told you earlier on is maize and soybean.
Yes.
So there's a need for government to do more to tackle insecurity, because when this issue is addressed, you can get a whole lot of people participate in the
economy,
in the growing of maize
yeah,
and the soybean, which is a very important ingredient for making a poultry feed. Then another thing that needs to be done is,
just before you go,
have to. We don't. Government is not happy importing. I know.
Yeah.
President Muhammad Buhari is one president that is averse to importation of things into the country. But sometimes what you wish may not be what you get.
Yeah.
The reality on the ground is that we are not able to produce enough maize and soybean that we need in this country, both for the ones that the feed producers need, poultry feed producers need, and the one that ordinary need. Don't forget that maize is also a stable food product in this country.
Of course.
So it's not just going to the poultry farmers. So there's a need to encourage productivity of maize, soybeans, and one of the key ways to do it right now is to tackle insecurity. Because when this issue of insecurity is addressed, it will cut by half the problem.
Yes.
Then we have, in recent times in this country, army of well-educated Nigerians, young men who want to go into poultry, who want to go into both poultry farming, into maize farming, into soybean farming on a large scale.
Yes.
But they are not. They don't have the financial resources. Oftentimes, they will advise people to go to the banks, or that there are some federal government program that can assist them to get the money. But it's not easy to get all those funding from federal government. So there is a need to make it easier, like what they are doing with Anchor Borrowers Program. Program. Are
Yes.
you getting it?
Yes.
That program of the CBN, in fact, has been credited for the large quantity of maize that are being produced in this country. Just like we have also the quantity of rice and other products that are supported by Anchor Growers program of the CBN has been enormous.
Yeah.
But you know also that our population is huge. So sometimes some of these achievement appears like a drop in an ocean.
Yeah.
But it's a step, a good step forward. So there's a need to enhance the process of getting more young men who are interested in agriculture to be empowered financially to go into commercial agriculture, where a young graduate can have access to hectares, tens of hectares of land, to be able to grow some of these staples like that are needed for feed, for poultry feed, maize, soybean, and all that. Then federal government should also may have to revisit this issue of excluding maize importers from having access to forex.
Yeah, that's important.
Because knowing the importance of the poultry sector in this country, anything that the government can do to make sure that this sector doesn't crumble, the government should do it. You should consider the the poultry industry as a key factor in this, a key sector, because as I told you earlier on, it employs millions of Nigerians.
That's true.
And if this sector collapse,
So
you
many
can
jobs are at
imagine
stake.
what it means to the employment sector in the country. It means there will be millions of people who will join the unemployment market.
That's true.
So federal government must ensure that you look into this issue of excluding them from forex, access to forex, because that is one of the areas that needs to be tackled and needs to be tackled urgently.
Yeah.
So that the price of feed can get low, so that as a result of that, the feed will be affordable. Then all manner of poultry feed or poultry products like the chicken, the eggs, and all will be affordable to Nigerians.
That's true.
That's one of some of the things I think should be done to address this issue, because no country jokes with a 13 trillion naira
Industry. Yeah.
No country does that.
Yes. And it will be counterproductive if the federal government allows that industry to go down the drain, considering the fact that we have an issue with foreign exchange. So spending so much on what can be produced here doesn't make that much sense. Yes.
If we encourage our poultry farmers by educating them on things to do, getting international standardization certificates, because even the poultry farmers also need ISO certificates.
Yes.
So that Nigerian poultry products can be competitive internationally.
That's true.
So there's nothing stopping this government or subsequent governments to ensure that all poultry farmers and all poultry farms in Nigeria are satisfied ISO, so that they can be competitive. You can imagine how much this country can earn if we're able to export poultry products. after satisfying
the local market.
The local market.
Yeah. And one thing I can assure you, if any set of people economists hate, I'm talking about hate, economists hate people who are idle.
Of course.
But when the government by its policies and inability to create that environment to get people working, um, that has serious implication on the economy. So, like you said, the federal government needs to sit up to make sure that we have security, we have good roads, we have electricity, those things that make business easy to do. And
yes,
the policy,
there's also need for off-takers. Government can play the role of off-takers.
Yeah.
Sometimes this they produce excess egg.
Yes.
Are you getting it?
Yes.
Government could be buying also of this excess egg.
That's true.
Are you getting it?
That's true.
Buy the excess egg, buy the excess chicken that they have available.
Yeah.
So that
government has a feeding program.
Yes, of course. Of course, they depended on this on the poultry sector for it, because when you're talking about giving a child every child an egg a day or whatever,
of course,
you can't get it elsewhere except through the poultry farmers. So government should buy the excess of poultry products, find a way of storing them, and it will also help government to stabilize price when there is when there is a scarcity of the poultry products.
That's true.
So government should look into that, and it will encourage the poultry farmers to produce more when they know that government is there to take over the excess.
Yes.
That is produced. And this is not only it's not rocket science. In Israel, in United States, governments take care of all those things. They buy up the excess eggs that are produced by farmers, the excess agricultural produce, just to stabilize the price in the market.
Mr. Wodim, I can assure you, I know personally of some countries in this sub-region, the West African sub-region, that do not produce eggs. If we had that surplus, there's market in this sub-region, in the ECOWAS sub-region, to send these eggs to. Those things, with the right policies, those things shouldn't go bad. In talking about excess, there's market for them everywhere. So, I want to say thanks to you, those of you who are following us. We hope the policy makers are listening and will take action. We say thanks to you, Mr. Paul Wadima, for being here with us. Thanks to you, our producers. Thanks to you, especially our listeners. So be with us tomorrow. We'll be here with another bumper edition. Just be our guest. Thank you.
Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.